We're going to go back and forth at each other, I'm sure. We both bet on different shit. I will bet, I'm sure. Yo, what's going on? How's everybody doing in here? How you doing, Cody? You good?
I'm doing all right. Another fun week. Another fun week on the PBA Tour.
Yeah, another fun, splendid, wonderful time out on the PBA Tour. What a great time!
A lot of controversy in the bowling world at the moment.
Oh, is there really? Am I missing something?
I think clearly, if you don't know, then yes, you're missing something.
Are we talking about like Sobel's post about the PTQs and all that? Absolutely. Oh, that's not really controversy. I think he's wrong, but I mean, that's just.
It's just sparked a lot of discussion.
It sure did. So it sure did. We'll get into that for a minute.
Had some good conversations with a couple PTQ guys and pros that are in the fields this week about this kind of thing. So it's pretty interesting to kind of, get different thoughts, from a perspective of someone that's bowling to try to get in, but also the perspective of someone that's not necessarily in the field and gets the bowl every week.
Right. So. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely different perspectives on that. And for those that don't know what he's talking about, there was a post that was made kind of complaining about the fields being so big and only taking 11 people or a very small amount into the main field and some other different stuff, which I can see both sides. I can understand being frustrated by that. But then at the same time, you want the best of the best in the field. What I don't like is, like, I guess at Jack City or Jack 60, they're only taking 64 into the field, which really doesn't make any sense to me with a place that has 60 lanes.
I mean, Wichita's 48 lane center, and we have 93, I think, signed up for the PTQ, and they're only taking 10 or 11.
Yeah, for a field of 64. Yeah, I mean, it just really doesn't make sense to me to be doing it like that. I understand limiting the fields, but limiting to the fields based on how much space you have, not because you're trying to only have 60. If you're going to have that small a field, you need to go back to the exempt field. You need to go back to the exempt statuses.
I have a couple of weird views on the topic. I mean, I'm out here grinding it, trying to do this. There's to kind of start. It's from a business perspective, I don't think this is a great business choice. It's really hard to do this. It's really hard to make money. Luckily, I made the PTQ at the U.S. Open and then cashed, which was a good start to the season. So that helped. These events are huge. Like, if you make it in, min cash is $3,000 for these 3 events. That's absolutely insane. 10th place at the U.S. Open paid like the same as 16th in this event.
Right.
They've spread the money out. There's more money in the prize funds. The PBA is putting $100,000 into all 3 of these events. So it is good. We have more tournaments. I personally just have no problem with the PTQs. I am a big fan of golf. They have Monday qualifiers for tour stops, and it's 90 guys for 8 spots, and you got to shoot 7 under, which is insanely hard to do. So I don't have a problem with the PTQs. I don't think it should be easy. I think you should have to bowl great. Obviously, more days, more games, whatever, the better bowlers are going to get to the top. I agree with that. That's no different. I just don't have a problem with the PTQs. I think it's perfectly fine. I think it's good for the sport. You want the local guys in the area to come out and bowl if they're here. That's good. I think it's great. I just personally, my problem starts to stem from where we have no other development within the sport to try to get to that PBA level. We have a PBA regional tour that, as a whole doesn't get you anything if you bowl well on that tour. Sure, you get some trophies, you make the money, whatever you may be, you get the RPI. But Patrick Dombrowski won the RPI. He's technically the best regional player in the country this year and isn't allowed to take a shot on the national tour. I have a problem with that. I just think there needs to be some sort of development and stage where you can work your way onto tour, whether that's like a PTQ points list throughout the year where the top 8 from that points list are included in the top 50 the next year, or maybe it's a tour trials or the top 8 from the RPI, whatever that may be. It could be the leader of the points from each region, which would be 7 guys. Any of those options at least gives people a route to devote time and effort and still have a way to make it out here without just the PTQs. If you add 7 or 8 guys to the field, so now you have a 58 field exemption, you can still have 8 spots for a PTQ every week and still have a 66 person field. You still get to run the PTQ. It doesn't go away. It doesn't change anything. And there just needs to be a route to allow younger guys or guys that want to try to make it out here a way to do it. And I don't want it to be easy. I know I'm one of those guys, so it probably sounds like anything I'm going to say is going to try and benefit myself. But at the end of the day, make it as hard as you want to make it, but at least give us a couple avenues to be able to get to that point, so that we can try and grow our brand and basically make a name for yourself. And
right.
I think that's kind of the problem. I think some of the stuff that was said online, I don't agree with. 90-person field for 12 spots, cool. I bowl tournaments that are 1 in 5 or 1 in 6 to cash all the time. It's the same thing. So it just needs to be some sort of way for us to be able to get out here other than just the PTQs.
Right.
If they add that and they put effort into it, which I know there are guys on the players committee, I've talked to a couple of them this week, that are fighting for those things. They're trying. Some of it's gotten shot down. Some of it's been, hey, we don't know that this will work. And they are putting in effort to try and make that happen. I can just tell you the fields aren't going to get any bigger, most likely, because they don't want to go back to 2 squads.
Which I agree with that. I agree with not having multiple squads. I mean, except like in Shawnee, obviously you have to because it's only, a 16-lane house.
Well, and unfortunately for this event, which I kind of have a problem with, there's no cashers round. So we have a rule in the PBA that if you have a regional that has 2 squads, you have to run a cashers round. There must be one. That is a PBA rule that started this year, last season. And yet we're running a national stop with 2 squads and no cashers round.
Yeah.
Don't necessarily agree with that. I think that's a little flawed. I think they could have found time to run a 5-game cashers round to help that squad equity. I don't think any of the guys would have complained about that because you're giving the guy that's 13th a chance to try and squeak into the top 12. Mm-hmm. So I have no problem with the 1 squads. It makes sense. You get rid of squad inequity. There's no issue there. But, they've also made the rule that there will not be 5 on a pair for the PBA events, which is fine with me as well. The pace is awful. It took us 7 hours almost to bowl the PTQ this week with 5 on a pair. And the scores weren't even that low. So it does, I understand that side of it too. But to have 3 on a pair in a 48-lane center for a 66-person squad, I think you can go to 4 on a pair and add a couple spots. That's all.
Yeah, I think, I was one that was I was all for the going to 1 squad thing because I think that is only right since, things change in between squads. There's so many times when you watch one squad run them over and the next. Trying to figure out squad equity is so hard because who you follow and all that stuff comes into play. The weather from the morning versus the afternoon. I mean, everything changes from one spot. And it's kind of the same thing like in golf, those guys, the guys who start early in the morning might have it a little easier than the guys that start mid-afternoon when the sun is beaming down on the course and making all the fairways and the greens harder, and faster. I mean, it's like the same type of thing, but as far as what I thought was great about the PBA back in the day and what really had me excited while I was in college was when there was an exempt field. I thought the idea of the tour trials and all that was fantastic to have an avenue because they did take so many from the regionals. I mean, I think it was the leader in points of the regional of each region got an exemption the following year. And then, they had the PTQ, or not the PTQ, but I mean, they had PTQs throughout it as well, but they had the actual tour trials where however many people, 9 or 10 or however many it was, got exemption from that too. The problem with that model is it just takes so much money. It takes so much money to make that happen because you've got to guarantee a prize fund all the way down, 60 some spots or however many you make that exempt field. And they don't even have to go 60 some. They could actually just make it 30 some guaranteed spots, which I think everybody would be all for. And then the other 32 spots come from a PTQ and all that other stuff, So there's so many different ways to do it, whether they can, logistically and financially make it happen. That's the question.
Yeah, there's just so many problems. Like when they're trying to do these exempt fields, like we still have the rule that if you have a national title, you can show up and bowl. Doesn't matter if you haven't bowled an event in 5 years or 10 years or 20 years. If you have a national title, you can show up and be in the main field without bowling the PTQ.
I don't think I like that.
And that is that's the one rule I have a big issue with. I think there are guys that, they won 10 years ago, 15 years ago. And they're like, well, hey, this is an hour from my house. I want to bowl. Well, now they're taking a spot away from the PTQ or from anybody that's trying to get into that field. And I just don't think that's okay. I think, obviously, we don't want to forget our history and kind of where the PBA started and what we came from. But being able to, when you won a summer swing stop or a tiny stop 10 years ago or 7 years ago, whatever it may be, and you're going to just show up and bowl, the majority of the time, that person's not going to have a good chance that week just because they're not out here every week. They're not competing. They're not sharp. It makes it really hard. So I don't like that rule. Obviously, title holders are important. Someone like Walter or Parker, if they want to show up and bowl, like, I get it. That's fine. They're a Hall of Famer. That's okay. But they're great for press. But it really does suck when you've got 20-something-year-olds out here trying to become the next Parker or Walter, and all that does is make it harder for them.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the 90s and 2000s, there were 25 events, 30 events a year. There were PTQs. Sure, you might have had a 100-person PTQ for 10 spots, but you had 30 events. We don't have 30 events anymore. We don't have a summer swing anymore. So to do those things and get out here makes it a lot harder.
Did they already say they're not doing a summer swing this year?
From my understanding, at least from what I've heard, there is going to be no PBA events after May. No national tournaments after May.
Interesting.
So the doubles will be the last event of the year. Then they are devoting more time into the playoffs and the league.
Which makes sense, but I wonder if they're going to turn those past national events into regionals now.
I know we've kind of tried to do that in the East with Delaware. We had a regional there this year instead of a national stop. And obviously we're having the doubles there this year too. So I know, at least from what I've heard through the rumor mill, that, there were a couple centers like Jonesboro that were pretty upset that, they've run national tournaments for the last 5 years. And then last year they were basically told, well, you can run an event. It'll be a super regional, but we're not giving you a title. And they were not happy about it. So
yeah.
I don't know how those centers will feel about that.
Yeah, how's Coldwater going to feel?
I know they weren't happy.
Yeah,
I mean, yes, we had the super regional that paid $10K last year, but they were not happy. They want that to be a national title. It's one of the hardest buildings. They treat us amazing. It's a great center, a great event. Like that, no one wants that to not be a national title. I mean, winning in that building is hard. I mean, I walked in there the first time and people looked at me and said, if you go plus, you're going to make the cut. Like, that building is that challenging. So, yeah, I mean, how are they going to feel?
Right. Yeah. All right. So, we kind of got through that pretty quick and easy. Yeah. Well, not that quick and easy. It was still 15 minutes. But
yeah.
So let's get into a little bit. You had another week out as the PTQ here.
Yep. So
struggle bus a little bit. So kind of tell people what was going on and tell people what you were talking to me about and see if people can learn from what you had.
So if people looked at my score, they'd probably be like, well, Cody went -10. Like, he bowled really bad. He had a bad day. He struggled. I did not leave the building feeling that way, honestly. I started out the day not throwing it that great. I was struggling a little bit physically when I felt like they were relatively easy. We were throwing urethane. I was doing something I like to do on the lane and just wasn't executing really well. My misses did not get 9, which was a big problem. I split. So I went 190, 190, 20, 190, I think, the first 4, and I was like right around even. Oh,
Whoa!
Camera down.
Lost it. Camera down.
There we go.
Got it.
So basically, oh, come on. You're standing there so nice. All right. So basically, after 4 games, I was like even. And I looked up and saw the cut number was like 80 over and knew I was going to have to get to like 150 over the last 4. So I was throwing it a little bit better and made the conscious decision to no one on my pair was throwing resin. Urethane looked really good. Some of the guys threw urethane, like Brian Robinson threw urethane for 7 games out of the 8 and made the field. So I made the decision. I was like, look, I got to find 240 ball motion. I got to have a chance to get there. So I went to a couple different resin balls. I threw 5 different balls that game 5, shot 150 because I just didn't find anything that looked that good. And I took a shot. At the end of the day, there's no difference between plus 50 and minus 10. 0. They still don't make the cut. They're still not bowling the rest of the week. So I'm more than happy that I took a shot and tried to find that ball motion because if I did, I could shoot 240 the last 4 games and make the cut. Compared to if I kept doing what I was doing, I was probably going to go, plus 20, plus 30 for the day. Be like, oh, I just didn't have it, blah, blah, blah. Like,
Yeah, what if I would have done this instead?
Yeah, completely irrelevant. It just didn't matter. So I threw 5 different balls, took a shot, tried to find it, didn't find it, and shot 150. Like, that happens. And the fact that I took that shot makes me happy because I didn't sit there and be like, all right, well, this just isn't my day. It's like, no, I'm going to try something. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, hey,
Right.
That's it.
So this comment, this isn't exactly right. Regionals are only 245 entry now.
So if you're a PBA member, they're 245. Non-members, 325.
Right, and then main events are 500. So
They are
and
500.
PTQs are only 250. If you don't make it out of the PTQ, you don't pay the 250. If you make it through the PTQ, you pay the extra 250. It's 500 total. So there's that. But then you got, the room and board and all that stuff too. So there's an awful lot of expenses that go into it. If you do it right, you can get away with spending less than $1,000 a spot pretty easily, actually.
Yeah, that's why we have next week we have 5 guys. When you're here, it'll be 7 people that we have for some of the stops. So like we're doing that to make it cheaper. Try and not eat into the wallet too much.
Right. Yeah. So for those of you that see that little link that's down at the bottom, that's for the membership over on my channel. We will start a different type of membership on this channel for exclusive type of things. For this, what we're doing, this is actually a little special announcement. I was in touch with the owners of Bowlify, and they want to give away a jersey. So we're going to do a jersey giveaway, but you have to be a part of the membership. And then we're also giving away a ball of choice. And because of Cody being on Storm staff, we're going to do a Storm or SPI Storm Company ball of choice. So we're going to give away a ball of choice and then also a Bowlify jersey, which will be valued at $100. You can make it custom. You can do whatever you want. I'll give you a coupon code and you can spend up to $100 on whatever you want at Bowlify. So those 2 giveaways we're going to do at the Bradley. We're going to give away a ball and a jersey at the Bradley. So be paying attention to these live streams, these things we're doing right now, and join that membership. Make sure you subscribe to this channel, the Bowling Undisputed channel, not just the JR Raymond channel. I have it on the JR Raymond channel because we're trying to spread the word about this channel. So make sure you are a subscriber to the Bowling Undisputed channel as well, because we're going to start doing an awful lot of different giveaways and stuff too to try and build a little bit of a reputation for being the coolest cats on tour. So that's where we're going with this.
Right.
Cody,
I apologize to guys. Service in this area is not exactly the greatest. I've had a little issue uploading some things from my phone. So I actually have a video. Sam Cooley was able to win last week. So I actually have a video with an interview with him, kind of talking about his win and what he did for the week, those kind of things. So you guys will get to see that. Unfortunately, I just couldn't get it uploaded. but we'll have it up here soon, I promise.
Yep, we got all kinds of content. He's got interviews from Zach Tackett. He led the A squad yesterday, and then he also got Dick Allen. So we're going to have all kinds of interviews, all kinds of different things that'll be going on, as well as these live streams. So make sure you are a subscriber to this channel. Let's take this over, and we're going to I'm going to share the screen, and we want to talk about kind of what Cody was seeing with some of these A squad, B squad bowlers over the first couple of days, and see what we can come up here with and talk a little bit.
If anyone's looked, the scores are not low this week.
Yeah, they're not low by any means, for sure.
Not at all.
So we're going to share this. See where we're at here. Yeah, so this is what we're after. Okay, so we're going to share this. We're going to talk about each of these players who are throwing shots. This is A squad, B squad mixed together. I believe he's got a little in here.
Stu actually ended up being your A squad, your first day leader at 320 over. And he threw this bowling ball he's throwing the majority of the day. So.
All right, so let's run through some of these guys. We'll watch these guys throw some shots. Which ball is that? Is that an infinite?
It is. That is an infinite physics.
I didn't like that ball.
It's definitely a unique piece. You know, it's a little different. So when it's doing the right thing, that's actually the new DNA.
Okay, that looked really smooth.
It is. It is a
similar. Go back and look at that again.
Yeah, it's a little similar to the Proton.
What's going on? Am I frozen? There it is. There it goes. Let's watch that DNA again. You say it's like a Proton physics?
Yeah, it's pretty strong, pretty smooth, relatively big numbers, very big intermediate diff. So definitely a bigger one. So as you can tell from these guys early in the block, they're using very strong bowling balls, very slow.
Yeah, big. That gem looked like a plop. There's another reality there.
Yep. Here's a Redemption Solid.
Oh, that looked like an envy.
That was a Redemption Solid.
I gotcha.
That another is infinite. Another one.
Connor's throwing probably is a motive guy, right? So it's a ghost.
I believe it's a ghost, yes.
Never hooked. Connors looks like he's got a gem.
Yep.
And they're all kind of playing. That's kind of one thing to notice. They're all kind of playing the same part of the lane.
Yep. They're all playing the middle
really
part of the
lane. To play straight. That was probably just a typical shock.
Yes.
Why is everybody choosing the infinite physics? What was so special about that ball this year or this week?
I just think so. That ball, so this place has a decent amount of friction in the front panel, but they're relatively tight. It's a very thick oil this week that they're using. So it's a ball that's not too clean, but very smooth, very slow. So it allowed the guys to kind of keep the ball in front of the pocket without having to create their angles, but gave them that kind of room left that they need. Stu was still throwing it in that shot there, which was 5 games later. So.
Gotcha. And those motive guys, they're either throwing a shock or they're throwing a ghost everywhere.
Yeah, actually, they have a couple new ones that the guys have been using a lot. That Primal Shock, and then they have a new Black Venom that's going to be coming out too. So. Santu.
Another ghost.
I actually think that was a Black Venom.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, the new one.
Okay.
So that'll be the next release they have coming.
Right. Yeah, so that a lot of those bowling balls just look real lopey, especially those ghosts. Those ghosts got too clean. It looked like if you didn't have some surface to get it going in the middle of the lane, you were kind of screwed.
Yeah, you kind of needed something that was, maybe a pearl with some surface on it, or, bigger ball early with some surface for sure.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. Let's talk about the pearl with the surface on it. Most people don't understand. They're like, well, if you're going to take a pearl and you're going to surface it up, what's the purpose of that? Why not just use a solid ball? Well, that's because we're trying to get a pearl cover to get through that front a little bit better. Even though we're taking surface, the surface is to get it to read the middle, not to get it to read the front. If you surface up a solid's going to read the front and the middle. So we want it to get through the front, but read the middle. So you use that pearl to get it through the front, and then the surface will get it to read the middle of the lane. So you guys that are trying to get your ball to read the middle of the lane properly, but not get it to read the front, that's kind of the trick there.
Yeah, a lot of guys. So a lot of times as we re-oil, especially with the Brunswick machines, we'll see a lot of earlier friction, and then this is a center that has a lot more of that. So if you're using solids with surface, you're going to get forced a lot further left because your ball is going to see that early friction. So they use pearls and then use a little bit of surface to try and let them stay in that zone that they want to stay in to create the right shape, instead of being forced too far left too quick. This is only 41 feet this week, so it's not too long, but it feels decently long. I mean, we had guys take 3 off the right. I watched a couple 1-5 combinations this week just because it was easy to get it going in the wrong direction and easily hit the 3-pin.
Right. So. Yep. And yes, Grayland, we both will be at the Bradley. We're going to be doing a giveaway at the Bradley, so we'll be doing some streaming while we're there after each day. Maybe not live, but we'll at least record some footage to post up. Sure. Sometimes we'll try to go live. Depends on how we feel and what we got going on. We'll see if we can.
JR will have me, I think we're bowling doubles together.
Oh, we are we? Okay, I guess we're bowling doubles together.
I mean, if he wants, if I'm good enough for him.
That's on the league pattern, right? I've been a freaking league monster lately, so let's go.
Yeah, I'm gonna need it. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to strike on house after bowling out here for a month.
I came back from the U.S. Open and bowled 800, so
hey, we're good.
We're in there. Although I've never struck in that building on the league pattern. Oh wait, no, it's at executive now. So yeah, I strike there. I've struck there a lot.
It is.
So that league pattern and me get along pretty well.
Yeah, we're gonna need a lot of strikes too. A lot.
Yeah, a ton. That field gets ridiculous. That field is.
Oh, it's a tour stop. It's just another tour stop.
It pissed me off. I bowled with Justin Knowles in doubles the one year, 2 or 3 years ago, and he bowled like I don't know, 580 or something for the 3 games. Like, what the hell, bro? What the hell? You're wrong-handed on a league pattern, and you bowled 580 for me. Granted, I only bowled like 660, so it wasn't anything great. My man,
that's not gonna help. We're gonna need a lot of. It's gonna have to start with a 7 for sure.
We got Mr. Danny Mack, the superstar himself, in the stream.
Wow.
Wondering how that guy's doing. That guy, he pretty much retired from tour and decided he was going to go run bowling centers and be a good dad and a good husband and all that stuff. Yeah. Most of us say, screw that. See, that's what he thinks about being a good dad and a big good husband. He says, screw that, drop it out.
Yeah, so, I met him about the same time I met you.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, we were in that Saginaw Valley area at the time. Like Danny's that has been that's just beating up on all the Canadians now, and then he comes over. He bowls 1 tour stop in the last couple of years and finishes 2nd at the Masters. I remember that.
He still throws it great. Just doesn't.
Yeah, still a top 5 physical game of all time in my opinion. But whatever. There he is. There's Mr. Lloyd Little. Where 8's the Bradley? There it is. It's in Louisville, Kentucky. Oh, Danny, bowling the Masters again. Yeah, we'll be down there. That's for sure.
Well, that's a spot from the top 64.
Yeah, top my neck of the woods down there. So
yeah, I know. I can't wait.
Yeah, it'll be fun there. And my shop's only 40 minutes from there, so I'm gonna go bowl a bad block, and then I'm gonna come back and drill 7 balls, and I'm gonna go bowl another bad block and call it a week.
Basically, if I need to drill anything that week, I'm just drilling them at the shop. It's great.
There you go. Yeah, be a lot cheaper than going on the truck. I don't think we're technically supposed to do that, but shh. No, nobody needs to know.
Those guys are really good too. So
yeah,
they're worth the money. They are. They're really good at what they do.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, they drill. I mean, guys were filling out sheets and putting balls on the truck at 9 o'clock last night when the squad got done, and they probably had all that stuff done by 10:30, and we're back here going to bed.
Yeah, yeah, they're quick. Actually, when Keith was retiring, or no, what was it, Keith? No, it was Weber. Weber was asking me if I wanted to drill on the truck. I was like, I got way too much going on. I mean, then if I'm drilling on the truck, then I don't get to bowl at all. Like, I can't do that. I got to have all these conversations with these guys. At least when I'm bowling, I can avoid them all.
That's true. That is very true.
All right, Danny Mack, take care.
Hang out on the truck.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of them just sit there and just chat all day. I can't deal with that. Like, go away, guys. I'm trying to work here. Get out of here. You're going to make me miss my mark. All right. Well, I think we pretty much got through everything, right? You got anything to add there? Yeah. It's been about 32 minutes. No, good time.
So we have a couple days here where we're going to be hanging out. I know we have Cooley put up a big block today. for the house. So he got to like 360 over. He's going to be our bubble boy going into this night
Close.
squad. So, yeah, Nair and Butters are going to look like they're going to cash. So,
How many
hopefully.
cash spots?
22.
Okay.
So they're both kind of in spots that are pretty good to cash. So we'll see kind of what happens with B Squad, and then we're here for the rest of the week. We head to Wichita on Saturday, and then we have the PTQ, I believe, on Tuesday of next week. So we're gonna kind of get ready and get some practice in before then. I might drill a ball or two. We're actually bowling on a long pattern next week. It's 44 feet.
There you go. Good.
Better's
deal.
not gonna hook, hopefully. So no urethane. Might throw some different balls. I might drill a couple different things or see what we got on the truck and what I can punch up. A couple slower balls to just kind of help the transition. So just get ready.
Right on. Okay, well, get some video, get some interviews and stuff.
Absolutely.
I do have that. I've got the Zach Tackett interview you sent me already. So
yeah, the Dick one was a little longer. I just have to send it to you. I'll get it uploaded today.
Okay, sounds good. All right, guys, we're gonna get out of here. We appreciate you swinging by. That's all we got for today. Make sure to hit that link down there. You see that one scrolling down at the bottom. Click that link, or I mean, it won't let you click it. So just kind of copy and paste it, or do whatever you got to do. If you're on my channel, the JR Raymond channel, you can just hit the join button. Make sure you're a member. We're giving away a ball and a jersey from Bolify, so it'll be pretty sweet. Well, it'll be a storm ball of choice, and then a jersey. You can custom make it however you want. They gave me a coupon code for $100 to give you guys, so we're gonna do that for you. But we're out of here. And I'm sure we'll see you for some more footage here in the next couple of days. So take care, guys. See you later.
See you guys.
We're going to go back and forth at each other, I'm sure. He both bad. I'm sure. I both bad. I'm sure.